oh gosh. And then, they have to learn how to escape from that. So if the aircraft was to come down, coming across the Irish Sea, it gives them the best chance of survival.
Well, thank you for that. And you'll see the replica air ambulance going out of the main ring. And this has been homemade. I'm not telling you who did it, but it was at Ellerslie Farm. And it's got my back bicycle wheel as the tail pin, and a lot of trouble and everything going round. So we thank everybody for listening to Mandy, and please support the air ambulance,
because we all know of somebody who's been in the air ambulance, and Johnny Dobson, the farmer, won't mind me mentioning him, being taken away, and you know, it's a very, very important part of the Isle of Man. So thank you very much. So, having a lap round in the back of the convertible now, we have this year's Miss Young Farmer, which is Caitlin McEwen, and our Mr. Young Farmer, Archie Cayley.
Who's winning today, Stan?
So, leading in and getting ready for the Grand Parade, we have our Meg Lambs, and we also have our sheep champions coming in here in the trailers. So they'll just be emptied and the quads and trailers will leave us before the show and the competition starts. As we're just waiting for them to come in, it's worth noting your entries, anybody that has any entries in the farm produce marquee, you can collect your entries between 4 and 6 p.m. So if you have anything that you'd like to bring home again, please pick them up between 4 and 6 o'clock this evening. The best Usually they think they're a human or a dog rather than a sheep at this point. Coming past, I think we have Princess Jasmine and the Genie Lamb. We even have a fairy and some lovely hearts. The woolliest lamb this morning went to James Cameen, and the most natural was Olivia Crea. So obviously the cattle are coming into the ring now, and the lead, as I believe they should be from how they come in your programme. So I think maybe a lot of people haven't got the catalogue, so you'll just have to trust us. So they're still meandering at their own leisurely pace into the ring. It has actually been a very long day for both handlers and the livestock folks, as I'm sure you can appreciate. And indeed a big lead up to it as well.
Lots of walking practice and washing and everything goes in before they get here, so nice and calm and sedate, and this beautiful pristine condition that you actually see them in here today in front of you.
So I'm starting with Holsteins here. So we're starting now with the calf show. We've got both the champion and the reserve champion from Sandash Farms, Aubrey Zoltan Peggy and Sandash Rock Millie.
Now with the reserve champion of the calf we have Oliver. I asked Oliver earlier what his favourite part of the show was, and he said it was the animals and scenery, and he just loves farming, so just loves to be here. So that's Oliver with the reserve champion. If you see him, give him a wave. I think that's a lovely thing, that he just loves being here, loves seeing the animals. Next through we have the Holsteins and the champion Cricket Farm, Carberry Unix Honeybee. And then in the reserve we have yet again another Cricket Honeybee, only this time it's Carberry Metallica. At this point it might be worth mentioning that Vicky and Neil Masson and their family have been listed in the top 10 of the master breeders this year, and that is a fantastic achievement. There's approximately 10,825 dairy farms in the UK. And this prestigious award recognises herds that excel in classification, production, longevity, and it requires dedication, immense stockmanship, knowledge, and many, many hours of poring over data. The herd is grass-fed and all milk is processed through the Isle of Man Creamery. On a good year of weather, the cattle graze February to November, that's just on grass. In winter, the cows receive a total mixed ration from their homegrown silage, whole crop and barley.
Harry, whose favourite food is chips, but he has had a
As you can see behind me, we have all of the winners from today's livestock judging on their way into the main ring for the Grand Parade and the Supreme Championship. This is the big one, the moment we've all been waiting for across the 2 days, and we still have the super secret judge to be revealed too, ahead of the big reveal of the grand winner before the closing of the show. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's head back into the main ring and let's find out who's going to be this year's winner.
Madge, and then again we've got Brianne and Alex Masson with Ronald, Foster and Clover being led by Michael. Not right. Yeah. And then we have Neil, Walker Neil Big with Balak, is it? Damio Aerial. Aerial, and the reserve champion, John Willie and Co. Gold, Hamlet, Jeremiah.
I think that's a Jemima, but it's close. As it's in a commercial cow, we're going to go with the fact that it's actually, yeah. Your commercial dairy cow again is John Willie and Co, and that's Tonya. And then they've got the reserve as well with Ginger. Then with the champion limousine we have Tom from Tommy K from Fox Rocks You Beauty, and he's being aided by Lewis Quirk there. Then the reserve champion J&D Quail Glenrock Bardi, led by Isabel. Then we have more again from the Quail family coming behind that again. Fantastic turnout from Quails at Glenlock here for this. That's an awful lot of hours walking that many cattle to get them quiet to this, and it's lovely to see somebody putting so much into the show to bring so much stock here and to make it fantastic classes. So the stewards are just starting to bring everything into line here now, as far as the cattle go, and then we're coming on to the horses, and that's led with the heavy horses. So that's Ned Kenyick's Brickle Diamond Jubilee. And the reserve, the best heavy horse show, was Jessica Clegg. The donkey, we have Jade Morgan with Minnie. And there's also Keith Karusha's Alouette. Leading off the light horse champions here, we have Mrs. Abby commonly known as Smurf. I think that's about his 8th year as our light horse champion. Then we have Emily Kelly, and that's the reserve champion, our first reserve. And keeping it in the family, we have the second reserve from the Kelly family again.
Coming past the grandstand now, we have Sienna Curthy. The Curthys must be busy. They had lots of entries into the Megland this morning, and then also with the riding, which is absolutely super.
So we have here obviously the riding classes, the in hand, which means they have no rider. I know Emily, with her reserve champion, is hoping that he will actually be in one of the ridden classes next year, so watch this space. He is indeed only recently gelded, so we've got a lot more years and promise to come from that spectacular pony. We're sort of starting to build up a little bit now over the question that's been on everybody's lips for this last 2 or 3 days, well actually longer, for 2 or 3 days. I think, how long has anybody talked to you about who the judge is, Vicky? Months. And what about you? Anybody been asking you who it is?
Yeah, there's certainly been lots of questions going around the show field of who it is and speculation.
I think there's going to be an awful lot of people guessing, because I've heard an awful lot of names. So somebody's going to be right, but I think an awful lot of people are going to be wrong, but that's down to the president herself. And when I asked her, what she said was, I'm doing it myself, there's no reason why I can't. So we might have to see who she actually pins that rosette onto. She's not up and going yet, so we're a little bit ahead of ourselves with that one. So that's all the class winners going out of the ring now. And we're now actually just getting to the stage now where we have our champions and our reserve champions left in the ring, where our supreme judge is to actually judge from. So our president, Mrs. Vori Kelly, is now walking through. Oh, she's on a mission and she knows where she's heading off to. Everybody's going to be looking to see. And he's walking ahead of her with purpose, and he's just making a little bit of an entrance in the gate here, so whoever the judge is going to be able to come through. Now, my word, I have Tom Corlett here in the bus with me, and last year I had to drag him kicking and screaming, and this year he's got his hands in the air saying, pick me, pick me. And suddenly it all becomes clear, because the master judge of the day is his dad, Mr. Jonathan Corlett. So I'm going to hand over you to Tom, his eldest son.
Because if he doesn't know everything about him, there's no chance of any of the rest of us. Oh, now he's gone shy again. You're going to have to tell us a bit about how long has he been friendly with Vori?
He'll known Vori used to work for Percy and Norman Kelly, so he's known Vori for quite a long time. I wouldn't want to say their ages to offend either of them.
So Jonathan has been very keen in farming since he's been always in the young farmers with him. So since he was a boy, he came from Ballacallan, and his dad was farm manager there for Gilby's. So he was always brought up with the love of agriculture, and for many years he thought that was going to be his way of life. A little bit of a change of direction happened through a bit of a mishap at one stage, which changed his course. And he went into insurance, as many of you know from, so he is now, a few years down the line, he is Mr. Tarleton Hodgson Insurance. But not only that, he now has his own farm, where he farms that with his wife Diane and his sons Tom and Will.
So tell us a little bit about your farm, Tom, and what you actually farm there.
So it's Lurgy Farm, just outside of Peel there. We run a herd of suckler cows, along with growing some grain for our own consumption as well. Like we said, we've been there 16 years or so now, I think.
I know it is, you said, your own farm. It's a bit of a family concern too, because there's usually a granddad and a few of the uncles and everything around quite regularly. You're lucky to have a lot of extra help, aren't you?
Yeah, we are very lucky. It is definitely a family-oriented farm, and weekends are often spent, rather than being hungover on a Sunday, we're all out together scratching or something, and we're very fortunate that our uncles and grandfather does turn up and help us like they do.
Now, I know, as I mentioned, Dad does actually work in the office. He's not restricted to the office at all, is he? He's got plenty of energy to come home at night and crack the whip and make you work a few more hours, hasn't he?
Yes, no, unfortunately he does spend a fair bit of time with us, and keeping an eye on us.
I think anybody from the farming community will say, the fathers will always tell you haven't done enough work, no matter how many hours in the day. If you do 23.5 hours, you probably haven't done enough hours in the day for your dad. But it is a pleasure to see him here today, and I wish I'd seen his very face when Very actually asked him to do this task, because I would imagine he'd be a little bit taken back. But I says he's never ever lost his love of farming and the animals, and to come back to it again as soon as he could just proves it, really. So we'll go through these now with the fine tooth comb, and we'll look at the champion and also the reserve champion of all of these animals. And shortly after that he will bring, I think, his selection of 8 up before he narrows it down again then after that.
He's just been past the Manx Lockton, the Bonnie Scarf, Radcliffe Scarf, the ram which 2 shearing upwards, and that is being held there by Bella, Lewin and Effie, so it was a family affair, all helping each other. Some of the results, just while Johnny is making his way up from the produce tent, we've got the best exhibit in cookery section, went to Susie Clegg. The most points in the cookery section went to Kelly Corrin. The Heritage Cup went to Dudley LaRue. The best sugar craft went to Susie Clegg. Oh, 2 trophies. The best exhibit for children's went to Amelia Corrin. The best sample butter went to Tricia Kringle. Best exhibit preserves went to Gwen Carey.
So in the champion short wool, we've got Orisdale Livestock Limited with the textile U. And the reserve in the short wool, we have the Chalet ewe lamb.
And then I would say in the long run we have Rothwell's champion and reserve champion there. So that's the Cheviot there with the reserve. No, Blueface Leicester. I'm just going to keep sitting here and guess until you tell me one of those. I haven't got it on the list. I wouldn't care, but I was listening to this at the Southern Show as well. Alison, I'm sorry. Boyd or Leicester? See, just tested everybody. It's not me that's got egg on my face, it was just a competition to tell me who was right and wrong. So that's Jonathan just working his way down the line. He's now with the limousines. While everybody is here, I'm not sure whether everybody's heard or not, but in the Manx National Farmers Union, which is just on your way out of Gate A behind the bus here, there is a form that everybody really could do with signing. I'm sure most of you are aware by now, after this last couple of weeks, that only 6% of food purchased in the food in the Isle of Man is actually produced here. 6% of food is actually produced here. That is from the UK supermarkets that we have. So nearly 100% of the island is dependent on imported food. This isn't sustainable for local farming or a Manx economy, so we could really like you to sign that petition to try and get more Manx produce into the UK supermarkets within the island. We have a fantastic range of food here in front of us, and what you're seeing here is actually, this is our advert for what you have. There's the beef out there, your lamb, your sheep, your dairy cows. We have a fantastic range, and surely we don't need to be buying quite so much of the UK produce when we have such a high quality here within the island. So if anybody would like to just call into the NFU tent on the way past and just put their signature on that petition, it would be greatly appreciated.
Going back to the Angus Reserve and Champion, are both from Emma and Holly Farragut, Alice Empress Rose.
So now he's just talking to our show director, Mr. Andy Curran, and having a little confer with him over what he needs to do next, or maybe he's telling off his first selection. So he'll take his first pick out of what animals he has left here. And then he will select again from that. Let me tell you, this is no easy task doing this job, but what I can say is, actual professional judges have come over here and judged all of these cows and cattle and horses and sheep that's here. So we can't really go wrong. It's just what his personal preference is, what he thinks is best today. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree with him and a lot of people will disagree. But it's his day and he's the judge, so it'll be down to his decision. Bit of an inkling here, Tom, over what you think he's likely to go for? No, that's not fair. Let's not put him on the spot over that. So that's Callow's Ayrshire. And then we've got the Sloan Masson's Cairbury Holstein coming up too, I think. Then after that also we've got brought up also come up is the Texel Ewe, and then the Border Leicester also brought up. We have here Aberdeen Angus and the Limousin. It's nice to have the poultry back at the show this year, the fur and feather tent. Obviously there's been the scary bird flu for a few years, so it's always nice to feel like we have a full show here.
For anyone while you're waiting is thinking about what plans you have for September. If you've got September the 13th free, it was Easton's Beer Keller. I'm sure if you wanted to know more information, if you head over to the Young Farmers Tent before you leave, or you check out their Facebook page. It was always an amazing night held at Conrenning. I think it's the same this year, so that's the 13th of September. Get it in your diaries, get yourself there, get your umpire gear and your best voices out. It's always a cracking night.
Well, while everybody has their diaries out, we've had a competition in the ring this last couple of days at the Manannan Sheepdog Trials, and they have an international sheepdog trial on the 20th and 21st of September. That's at Bishop's Court. You can find any more information you'd like about that on their Facebook page. But it would be nice, as it's an international competition, for some local people to come along and actually support that. That's shown an awful lot of interest with the children here today. There was a lot of pleasure that they got out of seeing those dogs work and how much they actually enjoy working. It was a pleasure to watch. Some of us remember one man and his dog, but I think it's not maybe about quite so much now. So the youngsters to be able to see a dog actually working was a lovely surprise and a treat.
So that's the reserve champions of the sheep section making an exit off the show field, just to make it clearer over which animals we actually have left here for Jonathan's final choices. So we will actually bring 5 animals up from what he has left here. So the Border Leicester has been brought up for the final selection, as is Kane's Limousine. It's a fantastic effort, that. And then you've got Ned's. Oh, is the horse coming up? Yes. Thumbs up there from Ned. When it comes down to this side of things now, if it's between 2 or 3 and it's very tight, sometimes it actually now is down to a little bit to do with actually the handler and how well they actually show their animal off now. You actually want your animal to be standing square. I know that sounds silly to say on all 4 legs, but that means that they've actually got their weight on 4 legs. They're not resting one, which they quite frequently do when in a relaxed position. And if they're standing square, as the terminology goes, usually they're lovely straight top line. It shows the cow's udders off. Or how fantastic their rumps are as far as the beef cattle are concerned and the sheep. So that's us left with our final selection now. And I would say that, for as far as Jonathan goes, that was his easy bit done. He's looking very dapper, as he always does, in his hat. Everybody's a little bit concerned when they get asked to be Supreme Judge, that if they're looking a bit smarter than they usually do, that everybody's going to know that it's them that's being chosen. It's safe to say Jonathan always looks smart wherever he is, so he was probably safe. We're just waiting now for Jonathan to have a last look through all these animals that's here in front of us. The second heavy horse is actually just here because the mare that's been brought up doesn't like to be left. And says, oh, and there you have it. Kane's Limousine heifer. Now he's walking down to the opposite end. We have a little look here at Becky's Holstein, I would say. Oh, that's our reserve, is the Ayrshire. It's led by Alfie. And then we have the Holstein. What I was going to say over the Holstein, ladies and gentlemen, is if human supermodels could eat as much food as those cows do and still have a set of hips like they do, they'd be very happy. And then there comes Jake, comes forward again now with the border Leicester. So if we're going to ask the governor if he would mind coming yet again. He's ever so good at doing this job, isn't it? Anybody think he was well practiced, wouldn't they? To present our awards for you today. And opportunity to say thank you to Conister Bank, our main sponsors of the show today. So, first we're over the cane. That's good.
Yeah. Tom and Lee Kane. She's just reminding everybody there who it actually is that's won the award there. She said, I told you, Tom. And then our first reserve is colour section. And next to us we have the Every Holstein. Is the family. They're from the Massons, and everybody in that family pulls away with that. It's nice to see the whole family involved. Jonathan, while they're doing that, I'm just going to have a little chat on Jonathan. What was your thoughts when Vori asked you to do this today?
Pride, delighted that she kindly put my name forward, and yeah, shock, immense amounts of shock. But no, what an experience.
How long did it take you to say yes?
I didn't get a chance to say anything other. No, yes was the only word that was going to come out of my mouth. I was delighted, chuffed a bit to be asked.
And actually, as she's known you since the little book, you still jump and say yes, Vori, anyway, don't you?
It's the story of my life. Ever since I was about 16,
Well, it's a lovely honour to be asked to do something like this. And she had an awful lot of choice, so it actually just goes to show the high respect that she actually feels here as well.
Yeah, well, the whole Ballahowan situation with Norman and Rory, I was very lucky to work for their father, Percy, when I left school, and to come all the way through there to now, and then to be asked today. Yeah, a real privilege and an honour.
Well, I think Norm will be up there smiling down today, don't you?
Maybe. Well, yeah, hopefully smiling, yes.
Or maybe kicking you because you actually give it to the beef instead of the dairy. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, that's another possibility as well. I could just hear him saying, Jonathan, what are you doing? But no, wonderful.
Well, I'm sure most people agree with you. It was a hard choice you had there because it was a fantastic set of animals that you had to pick from, and I'm sure most people wouldn't envy you having to choose that.
What a lineup of Manx agriculture. It's just such a pleasure to see such stock presented in such a wonderful manner on this island. We are so lucky here with what we have, and the stockmanship that goes into preparing and the effort that these people make to get their stock to us today is just wonderful.
That was a marvellous shop window there today, wasn't it?
Oh, it's exactly what Manx agriculture is all about, and we need to be building on it. We need the future of Manx agriculture. It's what we do.
So I'm just going to say, well, they've carried on without us now, obviously, because we got a bit waylaid. And I think Abby needs to stay in because she needs to be presented with the Celia Hedges Award for the champion horse yet. She had that.
Hello. No, you didn't.
Huh?
Yeah. Instead of
Yeah.
Which is good.
How are you? Yeah, good, thank you. Feel better now when you went stop sweating. Yeah.
Really
Thank you. So correct. So correct. But if you're going to put them in your car, it's so much more it's not what we did for
I wouldn't worry at home.
So also we have the floor awards that we haven't got presented today yet. So the Lord Raglan Silver Bowl goes to John Willie from the Gogmo. I think that's John Willie and Co. He changes his name around that a little bit every year just to try and trip me up. That's a fantastic trophy.
Hello. All right.
Then we have the Lord Raglan Silver Cup, Best Livestock and Crop Farm over 200 acres, and that goes to Ballagorn Farm Limited. He maybe left, he was here earlier.
Can I give you that back?
And while we're waiting,
Knuckles?
oh no, he's coming on. Well done. He's keen to get that on the signature for a bit more silverware, that's what it is. And then the white card report for the best livestock and crop farm, any size, maternity farm. And that goes to the Cool family at Almoda Farm.
You had hair and
Also, we have the award for our new competition that we actually have at the show this year is the Manannan Sheepdog Trials, and that goes to Mr. Richard Crowe of Bishop's Court.